Breaking news in the Sean Diddy Combs case. He's back in federal court today in Manhattan, this time trying to secure bail.
Pardon me?
That was before the
Don't get brazen with me. You knew very well.
A lot of people allowed it to go on, said nothing, didn't intervene, maybe benefited from it, profited from it. All of these individuals and entities, in my view, have exposure here.
The music mogul was denied bail yesterday after his arrest on sex trafficking and other charges.
I'm not going to talk about anything that I haven't said in court or in the papers. These are all great questions, but I'm just not going to get into it.
So can you speak about your concerns about the leak and the video? You have spoken about that.
I did it in the court papers, and I'm just going to stick to the court.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I've been holding a lot of shit lately. Man, I just had like a 3.5-hour cry where I just let it all out.
Imagine being so confident you're walking free, only to have the judge slam the baby oil bottle to your face. Diddy thought he had it all figured out, but when the judge threw his bail plea right out the window, now he's going nuts. As the trial for Diddy kicks off, music mogul Sean Diddy Combs seems to be growing more anxious by the day, especially as people have no support for him. Not even his closest associates have spoken up for him.
That spent so much time defending this man. This man was allowed to be with every presidential candidate. He was allowed to throw parties. He was hailed as a hero. And yet behind the scenes, everyone knew that this is what he was engaged in. This was an open secret in Hollywood.
Recently, a judge denied his bail, leaving him behind bars. It's a situation he likely never imagined, even in his wildest dreams. Now, facing the consequences of his actions, Diddy is reportedly sweating bullets, worried that a longer jail time could ruin both his reputation and career.
And I also want to be clear that the press and the media and the public at large is shocked by what's happening, but we really are just getting to the beginning of everything.
So, while Diddy waits on the decision for his third bail request from the appeals court, he was back in court last Thursday to get the latest on his case. With his sex trafficking trial around the corner, his lawyers have been keeping pretty quiet during the sessions. In court, though, sources have found out they're trying to block a key piece of evidence against him. They also talked about the trial date and some of the evidence they dug up from his mansion. So now it looks like things have taken a serious turn for Diddy, with his time behind bars stretching longer than he ever expected. And honey, when I tell you that Diddy made a big mistake making an enemy out of the judge of his case, he might be looking at some pretty long time at the MDC jail, whom people know as the hell on the earth. On Friday, Circuit Judge William J. Nardini turned down Diddy's request for an immediate release, while a 3-judge panel reviewed his bail plea. Diddy's lawyers had appealed to the 2nd U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals on September 30th, after 2 previous judges had already denied his release.
Breaking news in the Sean Diddy Combs case. He's back in federal court today in Manhattan, this time trying to secure bail. The music mogul was denied bail yesterday after his arrest on sex trafficking and other charges.
For those who are living under the rocks, Diddy has been in a federal jail in Brooklyn since his arrest on September 16th. He's facing charges for allegedly using his fame and influence to lure women into drugged-up, over-the-top sexual encounters with male sex workers in what were called freak-offs. Diddy has pleaded not guilty to charges of racketeering conspiracy and sex trafficking, which accuse him of coercing and abusing women for years with the help of his associates while using threats like blackmail, violence, and even kidnapping to keep victims quiet.
Prosecutors say that the charges stem from years of sexual abuse and threats against women. He has pleaded not guilty to those charges, and he made that plea yesterday.
Now, back to the courtroom drama. About 3 weeks ago, at a bail hearing, a judge rejected Diddy's $50 million bail offer, which would have let Diddy stay under house arrest at his Florida mansion, with GPS tracking and strict limits on visitors. But it looks like Diddy's time in jail is turning out to be longer and tougher than he expected, and he's doing everything he can to get out. But with his bail denied twice already, things aren't looking great for him. And to make things even bad for himself, he is allegedly going after the judge. Now, that's not it. Diddy's lawyers aren't just trying to prove his innocence, they're also arguing that he's not a threat to the community. Judge Andrew L. Carter Jr., who later stepped down from the case, said prosecutors had shown clear and convincing evidence that Diddy was a danger to the community. Now, according to the judge, no condition or set of conditions could prevent Diddy from obstructing the investigation or threatening witnesses. In their appeal, Diddy's lawyers argued that the judge had endorsed the government's exaggerated rhetoric and kept Diddy in jail for purely speculative reasons. Come on, I did not come at the judge like that. The lawyers wrote, "Indeed, hardly a risk of flight. He is a 54-year-old father of 7, a U.S. citizen, an extraordinarily successful artist, businessman and philanthropist, and one of the most recognizable people on earth." Diddy's lawyers haven't asked the new trial judge Arun Subramanian to reconsider bail yet, but during a hearing on Thursday, with Diddy sitting next to his lawyers in a beige jail jumpsuit, Subramanian hinted that he might be open to discussing it. After setting the trial date for May 5th, the judge briefly asked Diddy's lawyers about how he's being treated at the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, a place known for its issues with violence and dysfunction. Mark Agnifilo, one of Diddy's lawyers who had previously tried to get him moved to a jail in New Jersey, responded, "We're making a go of the MDC. The MDC has been very responsive to us." Outside the courthouse, another lawyer for Diddy, Anthony Rico, spoke to reporters. "He's doing fine. It's a difficult circumstance. He's making the best of the situation." Rico said, "Nobody's okay with staying in jail for now." Earlier this week, Combs' lawyer Alexandra Shapiro filed a motion for pretrial release with this court. She pointed out that this case has some really unusual and extreme circumstances, but she argued that these shouldn't keep him from getting bail or force Sean to defend himself from behind bars. Shapiro highlighted that Combs was arrested right after he was charged, even though he's been in the public eye his whole life and everyone knows his actions. There's really no chance he would run away. He's a 54-year-old father of 7 and a well-known figure in the world. The media frenzy around Sean Combs' arrest has twisted how people see his bail situation. Even though he was ready to follow strict rules to ensure he wouldn't flee or pose any danger, he still hasn't been released. While times have already been tough for him, you'll be shocked to know that this is just the tip of the iceberg. New evidence and allegations have come forward against him, and this one is no ordinary situation. Recently, a new lawsuit came against him, with troubling allegations that he drugged an SA, a 13-year-old girl in 2000. According to one lawsuit filed in the Southern District of New York, the plaintiff claims she was taken to an after-party following the MTV Video Music Awards, where she alleges that Combs and an unnamed male celebrity assaulted her while an unnamed female celebrity looked on. The Busby law firm, which represents the plaintiff, has indicated plans to file over 120 lawsuits against Combs, including this latest set of 5 new cases. This situation is unfolding rapidly and raises significant questions regarding the serious nature of the allegations. The situation is getting crazy, as many fans are now starting to believe the claims that Justin Bieber and Usher were minors being exploited by Diddy are true. Social media is buzzing with reactions, questioning what a 13-year-old was doing at a party and why no one spoke up while there. The lawsuit claims that after having a drink, the victim felt dizzy and was subsequently assaulted by Combs and others. Now residing in Alabama, the plaintiff says this incident has led to lifelong trauma and depression. In response, Combs' legal team has firmly denied all accusations, stating, "Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted anyone," and expressed confidence that the truth will come out in court. For the first time, it seems like Diddy realizes he might not be able to talk his way out of this mess. The thought of possibly spending years, maybe even decades, behind bars must be weighing heavily on him, which likely contributed to his breakdown in court. For someone used to living like royalty, the idea of being locked up in one of the country's most notorious detention centers is absolutely terrifying. Concerns about Diddy's life in jail are really piling up. You know, high-profile inmates like him face a whole different level of psychological strain when they enter the prison system. Sure, he's lived a life of luxury, but that also means he's always been under the public microscope. Every move he makes gets scrutinized, praised, or criticized. He's had his entourage, devoted fans, and a mountain of wealth to cushion the blow of any backlash. But now, all of that is gone. Imagine the isolation he must feel. It's not just about being physically alone, it's like losing everything that defined him outside those cold prison walls. Sitting in a stark cell with just his thoughts, that's gotta feel like the walls are closing in on him. No wonder authorities are keeping a close eye on him around the clock. They're worried he might harm himself. Things aren't looking great for Diddy at the Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, a place that has a reputation for being one of the worst jails in the country. The conditions there are downright horrific. Hygiene? Almost non-existent. Inmates often go days without a proper way to clean themselves. The cells are frigid in the winter and sweltering in the summer. And let's not forget about the power outages that leave the place in complete darkness, sometimes for days at a time. Can you picture being stuck in a freezing cell, shivering under a thin blanket, surrounded by nothing but cold concrete and steel? It's a total nightmare. To make matters worse, MDC is notorious for cramming inmates into tight spaces beyond its capacity. There's zero privacy, no room to breathe, and you have to stay on guard all the time. For someone like Diddy, who's used to the spaciousness of his mansions, this cramped environment must feel utterly suffocating. Right now, he's in solitary confinement in the Special Housing Unit, SHU, basically the section for inmates deemed high risk. This isn't just any part of the jail, it's where they keep the most dangerous individuals. A guy who once called a $48 million mansion home is now stuck in a cramped 6 by 9 feet cell. That's smaller than most closets. He spends 23 hours a day there, with only a steel toilet sink combo, a small desk, and a thin mattress to keep him company. His personal belongings, just a single blanket, one uniform, and a handful of commissary items. Talk about a far cry from luxury.
Another thing to note too is he wasn't shackled, but he was wearing a khaki prison-like jumpsuit.
For Diddy, it's just another reminder of how far he's fallen from his life of unimaginable wealth. Being in solitary means he gets just 1 hour outside his cell each day, and that's only to a small enclosed yard. No interaction with other inmates, completely cut off from the outside world, except for the guards keeping watch. A user said, "Puffy trying to get his last glimpse of sunlight. This shows you that freedom is priceless." Now, if he's found guilty, Diddy could face the prospect of spending the rest of his life behind bars. It's a chilling thought, and things aren't looking good for him right now. What do you think about the situation? Write your thoughts right now in the comment sections down below. And if you somehow missed what just happened with Diddy yesterday, feel free to click on the video to find out.